Listen, before this story begins, I want you to imagine something. Imagine you're hungry, but you choose not to eat, just so your child can have one proper meal. If you can feel that pain, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because True Kindness Tales brings you real moments that remind us humanity still exists. Now, let's begin. It was a cold December evening, the kind that made everyone rush indoors seeking warmth, but for one woman named Amina, the chill outside felt softer than the chill she faced in life every single day. Wrapped in a faded shawl and holding the hand of her frail 7-year-old daughter, Hor, she stepped into a busy family restaurant, not to enjoy a grand meal, but simply to give her child one warm plate of food she had been craving for days. The aroma of grilled chicken and freshly baked bread filled the air, but Amina's stomach tightened. She hadn't eaten properly in 2 days, saving everything for Hor. When she reached the counter, her voice trembled politely as she ordered, just one kid's meal, please." The cashier stared, confused. "Only one," he repeated. "Yes, only for my child," she said, embarrassed but determined not to reveal more. A few parents behind her whispered, a couple rolled their eyes, because in a place where families ordered big platters and combos, a mother ordering one tiny meal felt out of place. Still, Amina held her head low and guided Hor to a corner table. Hor's eyes sparkled at the thought of food, but Amina's heart quietly cracked knowing she would watch her daughter eat without taking a bite herself. As they sat down, a group of young staff members began murmuring. "She always comes and orders so little," one said. "If she can't afford proper meals, why come here?" Another muttered. Their voices weren't loud, but the sharpness in them sliced through Amina's already fragile confidence. She wanted to disappear. She wanted her daughter to eat without shame. Minutes later, the manager approached with stiff shoulders and an expression that carried more judgment than concern. "Ma'am," he said, arms crossed, "this restaurant is for customers. You can't sit here for long with just a small order." Amina froze. Hor looked up, confused, as if trying to understand why they were being talked to like intruders. "I'm sorry," Amina said softly, "I ordered what I could." The manager sighed loudly, drawing attention. "Well, if you're not ordering more, you'll need to leave after your child finishes. We can't have people occupying tables without buying enough." A few customers nodded in agreement, others just stared. Amina wanted to disappear, her cheeks burning with humiliation. She clutched Hor's hand, whispering, "It's okay, Beta, eat slowly," though her eyes had begun to sting. And in that moment, right there, in a crowded restaurant filled with warm plates and cold hearts, someone else had been watching. A man in his mid-30s, with slightly tired eyes but a gentle face, sat alone at a nearby table with his young son. His name was Cameron, a single father who knew very well what struggle looked like. He recognized not just hunger, but the dignity with which Amina was trying to hide her own. Cameron felt something inside him tighten as he watched Amina lower her head, desperately trying to protect her daughter from embarrassment. He remembered the days when he had just lost his wife, when money was so tight he often pretended he wasn't hungry just so his son could eat first. The memory hit him hard. Without thinking twice, he stood up and walked toward the manager with a calm but firm voice that carried across the dining room. "Is this how you treat a mother feeding her child?" he asked. The manager stiffened, surprised that someone had interfered. "Sir, she's not ordering enough, and we have rules." Cameron interrupted, his voice stronger now. "Show me the rule that says a mother needs to buy more than one meal to sit here." Customers turned their heads, forks stopped midair. The tension had shifted. The manager tried to maintain control. "Sir, please don't make a scene." "A scene?" Cameron stepped closer, lowering his tone but sharpening his words. "You humiliated her in front of her child. That's the only scene here." Amina watched in shock, unsure why a stranger would defend her. Hor clung to her hand, eyes wide. But Cameron wasn't done. He turned toward Amina with a reassuring smile. "Sister, please don't feel embarrassed. You're doing what every parent does, giving your child the best you can." His words carried warmth she hadn't felt in months. The customers around began murmuring, this time in support. "He's right," one woman whispered. "She's not doing anything wrong." Another parent nodded. "We've all struggled at some point." Cameron walked to the counter and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "Bring 2 family meals. One for this sister and her daughter, and one for my son and me. And add 2 desserts. Children deserve sweetness." The staff froze. The manager blinked, realizing the shift in the room's energy. "Sir, that's very generous, but But nothing, Cameron said firmly. Serve them with respect. When the food arrived, warm and plentiful, Amina's eyes filled instantly. She tried to stand up, reaching for her wallet. Please, brother, I can't accept this. I don't want anyone to pity me. Cameron gently placed a hand over hers. This isn't pity. This is what humanity looks like. One day, when life becomes easier, you'll help someone else. That's all I ask. Hor's tiny voice whispered, thank you, uncle, before she began eating happily, finally tasting comfort without fear. The entire restaurant felt different now, warmer, softer. People who had judged silently now watched with humility. Even the staff seemed embarrassed for how they had acted. Cameron's son, sitting beside him, looked up with admiration. Dad, you're like a hero. Cameron smiled, eyes glistening. No, Beta, real heroes are people who don't give up, like that mother over there. And just like that, a single act of courage turned humiliation into hope. The atmosphere in the restaurant softened as if the harshness that had existed moments earlier had been swept away by a quiet wind of compassion. Amina, still overwhelmed, watched her daughter laugh for the first time in days. Each bite Hor took felt like a small victory, a reminder that goodness still lived in the world. But something else was happening too. The customers were learning. A young couple ordered an extra meal and asked the waiter to anonymously deliver it to a worker outside. A middle-aged man paid for the meal of a struggling student at the next table. The restaurant, once a place that judged a mother for ordering one meal, had transformed into a space glowing with kindness. Amina couldn't hold back her tears anymore. She looked at Cameron and said, I don't know why you helped me today, but I will never forget it. Cameron smiled softly. Because someone helped me once when I was alone with my son, and I never forgot that either. His words carried pain, healing, and experience all at once. When they finished eating, Amina stood up and placed her hand on her heart. May your kindness return to your children 100 times over, she prayed sincerely. Cameron responded, and may life give you strength for every day ahead. As they stepped outside, the evening breeze brushed against them, making the moment feel almost cinematic. Hor held her mother's hand and whispered, Mama, today was a good day. And for the first time in months, Amina nodded with genuine hope. What she didn't know was that a teenage boy who had seen everything recorded the moment, not to mock, but to share the message of compassion. The video spread across social media not because of drama but because of humanity. People were moved by the story of a mother's sacrifice and a single dad's courage. Comments poured in from every corner. We need more people like him. Never judge someone's order, you never know their struggle. Humanity is still alive. Days later, the restaurant manager personally visited Amina to apologize. He admitted he acted without empathy and promised to introduce new guidelines, respectful treatment for every customer, regardless of what they ordered. Amina accepted the apology, not because she forgot the pain, but because she believed kindness grows faster when forgiveness waters it. Meanwhile, Cameron became an example of what true strength looked like. Not muscles, not money, but the courage to stand up when others remained silent. Weeks passed, but the memory of that day remained etched in Amina's heart. And somewhere, somehow, fate had tied two families together, not by blood, but by kindness. They often met at the park, letting their children play, while sharing stories of life, struggle, and resilience. In time, Amina found a part-time job through someone who had seen the viral video. Life didn't magically become perfect, but it began to change, step by step, built on a foundation of gratitude and dignity. And every time she passed that restaurant, she remembered the day when she had been asked to leave, and the man who stood up so she didn't have to walk out in shame. Because sometimes, all it takes is one brave voice, one act of kindness, one human standing up, to remind the world what compassion truly means. And if this story touched your heart, even a little, make sure you like this video and subscribe to True Kindness Tales for more stories that revive your faith in humanity.